Let me know. Okay. You said it, Mark. Thank God it's Friday. I need it. And I'm not nearly done. All right, folks. Welcome to the preliminary University of Michigan 10-minute trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-minute trades. Remember that all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Okay, so there's a huge monkey in the room, elephant in the room. Maybe. So I figured I would show you what some of the things I would do to see if we can be safe, not be safe. So we're here to trade University of Michigan, and this was not on the calendar until recently. In other words, when I made the schedule at the end of the week, I usually make the schedule on Thursdays. The Fed monetary policy report was not on the schedule. And you notice with what's going on with the Fed and bonds and inflation and the market, it's something we've never traded, certainly, and I don't want to be ignorant, but it's something that hasn't come up before. In all the years that I've been doing this, I don't recall ever seeing this report in a news trade room. So the first thing I did was download the data from the date of the previous report. So it's a 10 o'clock report. I'm at 9:59 and 50 seconds on the date of the previous report. So I want to see if gold did anything at 10 o'clock that day, when theoretically the report was released. The problem is what other news was announced that day. So besides looking at the move, right? You're looking at the move, which seems minimal. You also have to check that particular date, using one of the major calendars. Okay. So let's say Forex Factory, and we want to go back to July 9th. Okay. It was a Friday, 10 o'clock. And what's interesting, okay, they show it at 11 o'clock that month, and they show it as a low volume issue, but the markets were nothing like they are today. Let's see what happens at 11 o'clock if there was any move. Let me do it this way. So I'll go to 10. I'm in the playback mode of Ninja Trader. So I'm just fast forwarding an hour. Whoops. And I forgot to slow down my speed. So right at 11 o'clock, theoretically, that report came out. And in July, it doesn't really seem to be having much of an effect on gold at all. So the question, let me just look at one other calendar. So look, it might be an issue today because there's so much attention on the Fed, but I've never even heard anybody mention this report. Not a peep on the news, anything. And investing.com has made so many mistakes over the past 4 or 5 months. I don't trust them. And the report's not even listed on Financial Juice. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm just, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Just want to make sure you can all hear me. Okay. So my gut feeling is I'm just going to trade this normally. And hopefully the report doesn't screw us up. I mean, look, this is, if it had been on the calendar earlier, I would have done a whole heck of a lot of more testing, right? I don't like surprises. You all know me pretty well. I don't like surprises, even slightly. I don't like them. Because, it's hard enough trading normally without surprises. I think that's something we all know. So I think we're probably fine, that I'm just being paranoid. I think I'm being paranoid, but I like to be careful. I think that it's smart to be careful. So we have a few minutes. Let me just look at one other thing. And look, this is something that happened the minute I got here. 5 minutes. I'm not a genius. Now, what's really interesting is they don't even have it listed on July on Forex Factory. They're showing it on June 12th. It hasn't been, it's a yearly report. And the last time it was released was February 19th. So let's say I want to be a maniac, right? So February 19th in 2021, you can't download the data from Ninja. So February, let me just think for a second. 219 would be contract 421, February 19th. So I have a third party replay manager that allows us to download data. And I don't have enough time to teach anything about it right now. So bear with me. Okay, so it looks like it downloaded it for me. So it's February 19th. Okay. So let's do this. If you right click this little arrow on the bottom right here, you can go to a specific date. So I can go to February 19th. Now keep in mind, I downloaded the data, so I don't have to. And I want to go to, give me a second. I'm just checking the time. What's interesting, it was an 11 o'clock report back then also. $11 report then. So that would have been the contract GC 0421. Let me do this. Let me do this the quickest way that I can. So what did we say? It was 2:19. Now just bear with me. I'm just trying to protect us. 2:19:21. So I'm just putting that date in the, and let's get the time right. We'll say 10:59 and 50 seconds. All right, let's see if we get a playback. I hate NinjaTrader sometimes. See, remember what I told you, folks, is sometimes it resets the time. You have to put it in twice. 10:59 and 50 seconds. And play. And good, we have the data. So the time we're looking at in 7 seconds, theoretically, that report came out last year. Comes out once. So we're looking to see, is gold exploding on this report? Seems to be a non-issue. All right. Seems to be a non-issue. Gold was trending up that day, but I think we're fine. I'm going to just not sweat it. So let's go. Look, there's just not that much happening at 11 o'clock. Now, look, it's a different time if investing.com is even correct, right? Let's look at, we have a couple of minutes. We don't have to rush. I'm looking at FX Street for today. They have a very nice calendar that I like. Akana Day has a nice calendar. And I'm looking at today, and they don't even list it. Okay. They showed at 11. They showed at 11 today. Interesting. They showed at 11. So you know what that makes me think? Investing.com is wrong. And we think that Forex Factory is the gold standard for calendars. And they're showing it as tentative. Okay, so I don't think it's 10 o'clock. I don't think we have to worry about it. Okay, so a little bit of research, just because I want to keep us careful. That's all. So now I just want to put my charts back on today's instrument. Connect my connection back. And we'll go back to normal. Okay. Yeah, there's our host is down, David. It's not us, it's the host. We use a gigantic hosting program. So you're gonna have to just sit tight. I can't deal with it right this second. I'll go over it, but it's gonna have to be when I can't do it this second. I'm sorry. It'll be a minute. Bear with me. Now, not to give you a tough time, always get the DMM the day before. That's why we put them up the day before. If you get it 5 minutes, 15 minutes before the trade, you can't get ready properly. So I'm giving you a hard time. Get it the day before. But I'm going to go over it. It's just in a minute. I have to get a couple of things straight. because there is one today. But you know what? I'm slightly changing it too because of my testing and the markets. So you know I'm going to go over it. So don't worry about it. 1 minute. So we're on gold. Gold is trending a little bit down right now. Boy, I'll tell you, I have an end of the day YM trade that I sometimes do. You had to have like a thousand point, like a 300 point stop. I can't believe it. So here's the DMM, and I'm using a bigger bracket. I'm using a 10 bracket on this report. Now, in theory, maybe last month, I don't call last month a winner either. I don't call last month a winner. It reversed. First of all, if you used an 8-tick bracket, maybe you could have gotten out. Maybe you could have gotten out with target 1. Okay, maybe. Let me see if I have it. I recorded it, but I have multiple recordings. That's not it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I have it, I thought I had it. I guess I don't. Darn it. Let me look in one other place. One other place. I thought I had it. Okay, so this was last month. And watch what it does. I think it would have been almost impossible to trade this as a winner. So it goes, look how fast, look how little time you had to take your profit. Now, it would have hit the first target, but the first target was only 5 ticks. And if you didn't move your stop instantaneously, it would have backed up on you and it would have been a small loss, not a winner. So I don't agree with that as a winner. To me, it's not, because real life trading sometimes is different than analysis. So here's how I'm going to trade it. But I will say this, fixing the bracket and making it bigger saves those 2 stopped reports. They were much smaller brackets. And we went to 8, but I believe we should be at 10, not 8. So this report's not trading that badly. I'm willing to trade it. Even though it's a Friday, I hate to trade. I don't like Fridays unless it's a monster report normally. I love the big reports on Fridays. I don't like the piddling reports, like existing homes. I don't like University of Michigan that much. On Fridays, I just don't. I don't like them that much. It's a target of 5. And my second target, I'm going to make it 15, because remember, this is consumer confidence and inflation. Okay, it does have an inflation element. Am I crazy? No. Inflation expectations. Okay. So if it's a really bad or a really good report, it could move a little better than what they expect. But I'm going to keep the stop. I mean, it's not the NQ. All right. Gold's not totally insane at this moment. I think the 10 bracket will keep us safe. It's a 20-second cancel. I've seen sometimes where the cancel could be extended on this report to almost 40 seconds. The entry is 10:29:59. It's a breakout. All right. Like I said, I am going to trade it. Entry is 1029.59. So I'm looking for 5 and 15 on the targets. I'm not a believer in trading it big because it's just reports have been tough. The little reports. Now, maybe I'm wrong. The testing is, I mean, I went back and tested a lot of it. It really hasn't been trading badly at all. It was canceled in December. Last month is marginal. I think there's the possibility of a pretty strong move. Okay. Definitely a possibility for a strong move. Thank you, Fred. 9:59:59, folks. 9:59:59. It's a 10 o'clock report. 9:59:59. Thank you, Fred. All right. Someone's helping me. It's like the old days. Thank you, Fred. Let's go over the setup one more time. Bracket of 10. One position for 5, one for 15 ticks. Look, you can do 6 and 12. You could do 3 positions, 5, 10, and 19, right? I'm just thinking. Bear with me. All right. Stop is 10. That's my setup. So you've got these elements: inflation expectations, current conditions, consumer. All right. This report generally has a normal news move. All right. Let's look at December. I mean, this is not the jobs report in the type of move that it normally has, nor is it CPI inflation. And you can tell nobody talks about this report. They really don't. It doesn't barely get mentioned. It's one of those that we've always traded over the years. And it's a coin toss trade, but as of late, it's better. And that's why I'm willing to trade it. December was canceled. No fill. Okay. December was a no fill. And then November. And see, I was doing a lot of testing on this report too, because it hadn't been trading well. And November, it pops a little bit. Trap trade doesn't work well on this report. It doesn't move enough generally. What's interesting is the September and August moves were good. They were actually better than some of the recent ones. But at least in November, you could get out flat or with a small profit. If it just hovers and does nothing, you probably should slide your stop up halfway, right? And it was with jolts that day also, with confuses things. This report sometimes trades with new homes or jolts. Let's check our time sync. Time.is the way we test our sync. I go to the website, time.is. Now, nobody caught that I didn't turn my trade on. So we have 5 minutes. So you see the size of that rocket last night? Elon Musk's rocket? At least it looks like a rocket. But I mean, I'm not crazy about Elon Musk. I mean, he inherited all his money and he acts like he's a big genius. If someone gave me $500 million, I could invent a ton of incredible things also. Most people probably could. But you got to give the guy credit. SpaceX is fantastic. The what is it called? The Boring Company is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I'm not a Tesla fan at all because they don't repair cars. They're a disaster. If you need your Tesla fixed, sometimes you wait months. So I don't know. I don't know why anybody buys a Tesla. I couldn't buy them. It's not the money. I just don't think their business model works. Yet people swear by them, absolutely love them. A really good friend of ours has bought Tesla after Tesla after Tesla. But I think he's done some really interesting things. His internet, a lot of people don't pay attention, but he's got all these satellites that he sent into space that are creating an internet system that's so much faster than what we have now. That Starlink, I think it's called, pretty sure. No, this is good news, Mark. Super fast internet anywhere in the world because it's satellite. Very good. That's really good stuff, I think. It's the media. It's so negative. The media. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm just inundated. I wish they would just report some good news too. After a while, it just wears you down. They need to report there's so much good stuff going on in the world, and all they do is focus on everything bad, picking on everybody, who's sleeping with who. It's insane. Who cares? Absolutely insanity. Well, I don't think I think they're really nice cars and people love them. I think the repair issue is a real issue. I think it's a real issue. And I know you're just messing with me. And I don't mind at all, Mark. Call me out every time. I don't mind. I don't care. But I'm not a car person to begin with either. So it's like I'm not the person that would ever buy. I don't care what I drive. I mean, I care what I drive, but I actually hate owning a car. I'd rather not even own a car if I didn't have to. I don't wash my car and care about the way it looks. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm trading this live, David. I am trading it live. I really prefer two wheels. I don't. I mean, I love Jeeps. I'm a Jeep fanatic, and I just don't have a Jeep right now. And that's Wranglers are my only car that I love that I'm like fanatical about. I love Wranglers. I've owned about 20 of them over the years. I just don't have one now. I don't know why. Because my Cherokee blew up. I had a 2000 Cherokee. Let's watch markets. So our bracket's 10. I don't like what I'm seeing. It should push. It should push. Okay. Hits the first target. I'm moving my stop to break even plus a tick. If it stops me out, I don't care because it's not pushing very hard. It gave me 5 ticks. It's a Friday. I'm a baby. All right. Um, and it's a good, darn bad news report, but it is fighting. It is fighting the downward trend a little bit. So look, gold may go and test a high, and I might be sorry. Okay. I might be sorry. Right now, it's exactly where, all right, I'm sorry now. Now I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not totally sorry yet. Let's see what happens. It's trying to push up. It's trying to push up. It's trying to push up. It should push up if you go just by the news and an old-fashioned response. Okay. It's a really good offset, which should have burst up to the high in the old days. Now, look, it's like 4 ticks above where I left it, and it never challenged the stop. It hasn't even slightly challenged the stop. So if you're in the trade, you don't have a reason to panic. Okay. I did something that is never unreasonable. Moving your stop to break even if your first target is hit, it keeps you alive for the next trade because you make a profit and you get stopped, but you hit your first target. It's not my fault that the first target's pretty small because this report hasn't been moving much. But I made that decision that I was going to protect my profit. Why? We haven't been getting old-fashioned gold moves, right? So you can't even count on the fact that it was a negative offset, which we saw. We could see that. It's now 2 minutes and 45 seconds after the report, and the price is consolidated, right? It went up, looks like it went about 5 ticks above where I went out. So I probably could have grabbed 3 more, okay, right now. So now you have to think about, look, it's pretty choppy. Pretty choppy. This was not easy to manage. Okay. Not simple unless you said, I'll take the full loss. Now, my full loss could have been $200. I don't really feel like doing that on a Friday. Okay. On a report that it's, next week's looking real interesting. And that's something I wanted to tell everybody. No, it didn't move with intensity. And so I took my profit. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I do it maybe too often. I should let things ride more often, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm doing a podcast today, but no one's invited. I'm doing a real podcast, and I might be starting a new thing with a Friday podcast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the whole week, and go over next week's schedule. Okay. So we'll be sending out the podcast though, if I do it. If I do it, we'll send it out over the weekend. And because the podcasts we've been doing, they're not podcasts, they've been webinars. I want to do a real podcast where it's audio. You can record it with video because people do watch podcasts, but many podcasts are just audio also. But people always ask, I couldn't get to the trade room. Don't forget to cancel your trade. Sorry. I couldn't get to the trade room. What happened on such and such a trade? It's not going to be, well, this was a great trade and you should have been here. That's not going to be the point. It's going to be what happened with all the warts. Okay. The way that I traded it, maybe the way that you should have traded it. And now that I'm thinking about it, this is going to be a lot of work. I don't know if I'm going to do it. It means I have to make notes. I'm overworked as it is. Anyway, but I want to do it because next week is kind of interesting. And Chantal, are you here still? Mark, you have a Jeep Cherokee. Did you tell me that? David, you have a Harley? Chantal, I'm going to send you a whole bunch of reports. Oh, yeah, I forgot. YouTube. YouTube. Donna. Hey, Donna, are you still there? Donna, are you still there? So, Donna, if you're still there, this is the University of Michigan. University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment News. So, Donna, I see you on YouTube all the time. You are hooked. I'm going to send you an invitation to the trade room. So, I want to thank everybody on YouTube for giving us so many likes today. Hit that like button, folks, before you leave, and subscribe. Next week has some great trades, okay? And I'll see everybody next week. Look at this. I told you it was going to test the high. What did I say? It's a magnet. That high was a magnet. Now, it's too late to chase it now because it might only go 5 more ticks, okay? But so this trade, if you would have stayed in for less than 10 minutes, it would have hit the targets. So I'll note that in my journal. And if you think about it, folks, and this is where I need to get better. I know that that high is a magnet. And if I want to really get better, I should have stayed in the darn trade. Okay. I should have stayed in the trade, and I'll take responsibility for that. And I'll also, you know what? I'm going to do that podcast. All right, folks. I want to thank everybody on YouTube. We're going to shut it down. It was a very interesting week. It always is. Always is. Does anybody in the trade room have any questions? David, I didn't mean to yell at you. I wasn't really yelling at you. I'm just giving advice. Always get that darn DMM the day before because we never know if something goes wrong. And how come you don't get it in email? Do you not get the email? David, that's the real question. You know what it is, Mark? I'm not talking about video trade recaps. I'm not talking video trade recaps. I'm talking more of just an audio podcast because we actually have people that do some trade recaps for us because it's a really long process. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And we actually have a company that does it. And then getting back to SF and David. So if you're not getting the DMM email, so here, let me just let everybody know how it works. I send them every single day. There's a DMM. Right now, the website is down. Okay. And it's not us. It's our host. And it's a major company that hosts websites like ours. And they're having some problems. They posted, it's not them either. There's something going on somewhere. There's a problem, and it'll probably be up later. It'll be up later. So that's a problem for me because I won't be able to do any of my update work today if it's not up soon. But the point I was going to make about the DMMs. So the process is I get the DMM from my boss and I post it, half an hour after I get it from him, usually around 2 o'clock every day, and I email it at the same time. If you're not getting the emails, definitely check your spam folder. Check all your email folders, especially if you have Gmail, because sometimes Gmail puts our emails in a weird folder. The other problem is if you ever asked to unsubscribe to our services in the past, and then you signed up again, it's almost an impossibility for me to get emails to you without spending like 100 hours on it. It's almost impossible. Now, most folks, that's not the issue. Sometimes ISPs just think it's spam and they don't let it go through. So if you don't get the DMMs and you want them, now, obviously, the reason we put them on the website is because we know that there are these problems with ISPs. So the only other thing that people can sometimes do is whitelist our email. And if you send me an email, I'll send you a link on whitelisting. But other than that, we don't have a solution if the emails don't get to you. You can try sending me an alternative email. I can put it in the system. Be more than happy to try that for you. So just send me an email. If you have an alternative email, I have a couple of emails, so I can always try a different one for important things. We'd always be happy to try that. Okay? That's how we can deal with it. Send me an email minimally, and I'll send you the info on whitelisting. I assume everyone knows how to get it from the website, which is not that big a deal to download it from the website. Some people hate emails. You know, they think all emails are spam, so they can't stand them. All right. So thanks everybody on YouTube. Really appreciate the likes. Prelim announced at 10 o'clock. Join Sung. Donna, I remember your last name. So I'm going to try and remember to send you an invitation to come join us next week. And thanks everybody on YouTube, and sign up for the channel, and we'll see you next week. Everybody in the trade room, have a good weekend, folks. Look, it didn't quite test the high. Now it looks like maybe it's going to reverse now. But, you know, it would have been nice if I stayed in, okay? But I didn't, so it's life. Not the end of the world. All right, folks. You know, I hate the word folks. Such a dumb word. All right, people. Have a good weekend, everybody. Chantal, I'm going to torture you. Chantal, if you want to get a head start on what we talked about yesterday, I know, with reports, you want to do one really important thing. It is Super Bowl weekend. It's going to be fun. There's the test of the high. There's the test. 13 minutes. That is a test. I'd like to see it maybe one tick more, but I'll take that. I would take that as a test. All right, so I'm going to make some notes, do my podcast, and everybody have a great weekend. Okay. Chantal, I think I may only need one in an emergency. Well, I'll send them to you and I'll make notes. All right. Do the best. You always do the best you can anyway. All right. So you can shut down YouTube, and thanks everybody on, wait 1 second. Where to get info on service. Stephen, the website is down. So just try later. Just try it later. It should work. Our host is down. It's not us. It will open. That's the place. Sign up for a free account on the website, and you can get a lot of information on everything that we do. Okay, it'll work later. There's a problem in the country. It's not us. There's some sort of communication issue going on. with certain internet providers. Okay, folks. Does free version of the free version's no good, David? David, you should hold tight. We're going to do something. I mean, but it's only, the problem is it's not any instruments. You don't get many instruments. Chantal, it doesn't do as much either, right? Okay, everybody. I'll see. Oh, look at that. Look at gold. Now, you know, this is not news related, but you know, we could have still been in the trade, right? So there's something to be said if you don't get stopped out to just keep trailing, right? You can keep trailing. Is it delayed, Mark, if you don't, if you have the pro version? So, Mark, that's a little bit confusing. If you have the pro version of Juice, right? If you have the pro version, and you're right, Mark, I agree. If you have the pro version of Juice, is Tick Strike not delayed? That's a good question. That's right, Mark. That's right. You're absolutely right. Well, you know what? I'm going to take the blame today for not doing what my own analysis said to do. Just for the test of the high, I should have stayed in that trade. So I want to punch myself now. I invented those darn magnet trades. I mean, you know what I mean. I just made up the name magnet trade for a test of the high and test of the low. Yeah, it's a good question, Chantal, to ask. It is a good question. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. And I'll see everybody Monday. Yes, I agree. The whole idea of the product is, to me at least, is the multitude of different indexes. So the 1 minute squeeze really gave great signals today. Really good signals. Better than the 30-second, I think. Because the 30-second showed downward movement when the market really didn't go down today. It went down a little, corrected a little bit. Yeah, it's a really interesting product, David. It really is. It's got so many fascinating possibilities. All right, everybody. I really am going to go now. Have a great weekend. See you, folks. Chantal, I guess don't forget to shut down YouTube. See ya.